In 1963, a man in Turkey's Nevşehir province knocked down a wall in his basement and stumbled upon one of humanity's greatest secrets. What seemed like a simple extra room revealed itself to be the entrance to a colossal labyrinth plunging 18 levels beneath the earth. Derinkuyu is not merely a cave, it is a vertical metropolis carved into soft volcanic rock, capable of housing nearly 20,000 people. Imagine the impact of discovering that beneath your feet lies a world of claustrophobic tunnels, 55-meter deep ventilation shafts, and massive stone doors weighing half a ton, designed to be locked only from the inside. The silence inhabiting these corridors today echoes a disturbing question that archaeology still struggles to answer. Who were the architects of this impossible refuge? And more importantly, what kind of overwhelming threat were they trying to escape with such urgency and technical precision? The engineering of Derinkuyu defies the logic of a supposedly primitive society. Each level was planned with specific functions, demonstrating advanced social organization. There were stables for animals on the upper levels to prevent smells and gases from rising, followed by residential areas, kitchens with camouflaged exhaust systems, and even a religious school with a vaulted ceiling. The ventilation system is so efficient that even at the deepest levels, the air remains fresh, connecting thousands of ducts that also served as water wells. However, the design is purely defensive. The tunnels are intentionally narrow, forcing invaders to walk in single file, making them easy targets. The famous circular stone doors resembling millstones could block access in seconds, turning each sector of the city into an impenetrable fortress. It is an architecture of pure desperation, where comfort was sacrificed in the name of absolute survival against an invisible enemy. While the most accepted theory suggests that the Hittites began the excavations around 1200 BCE, or that Byzantine-era Christians expanded the caves to flee persecution, some details do not perfectly fit the historical timeline. The scale of the excavation would have required the removal of millions of tons of rock, a logistical operation that would have left immense traces on the surface. Yet little has been found. Furthermore, the precision required not to collapse upper levels while excavating lower ones suggests a knowledge of geology and engineering that few empires of that time possessed. Some researchers propose older and darker hypotheses, suggesting that Derinkuyu could have been a shelter against global climatic cataclysms or celestial events that rendered the Earth's surface uninhabitable for generations. The fact that hundreds of other underground cities exist in the Cappadocia region, many connected by miles of tunnels, suggests that an entire civilization decided at some point that the sun was no longer a safe place. The greatest mystery of Derinkuyu lies not just in how it was built, but why. If the goal was to flee invading armies, why build something so permanent and deep? Armies pass, but Derinkuyu was made to last millennia. Soot marks on the ceilings indicate the prolonged use of torches, suggesting that thousands of people spent months, perhaps years, without seeing daylight. The psychology of a population confined in total darkness, dependent on water wells that could be poisoned by invaders if discovered, reveals a state of institutionalized collective panic. The design of internal communication tunnels allowed inhabitants to coordinate without being heard on the surface, creating an underground intelligence network. This extreme need for absolute concealment raises the suspicion that the enemy they feared was not just human, but something that perhaps dominated the skies or the plains in a way that made any open-air resistance a death sentence. When analyzing the mythological records of the region, we find mentions of the Vara of Yima in Zoroastrian Persian tradition, an underground shelter built to protect the elite of humanity from a catastrophic winter and a malevolent force. Could Derinkuyu be the physical manifestation of these myths? Traditional archaeology often ignores the connections between folklore and geological reality, but the existence of Derinkuyu is material proof that the impossible was achieved. Ancient warfare experts point out that the city is the perfect example of passive defense. No large arsenals of offensive weapons were found in the excavations, only locking and concealment mechanisms. This suggests a culture that valued preservation over conquest, or perhaps a population that knew its enemy was so superior that the only effective weapon was disappearance. The enigma remains: where did these people go, and why was such a colossal structure eventually abandoned to oblivion? The technology required to maintain the structural stability of Derinkuyu is something that still impresses modern architects. Volcanic rock, while soft for carving, is prone to erosion and collapse if not treated correctly. However, there are no signs of significant collapses in the main levels during centuries of use. This suggests that the builders possessed an advanced understanding of weight distribution and natural supporting pillars. Additionally, the strategic location of the water wells, which did not connect to one another to prevent the poisoning of one well from compromising the entire city, reveals a survival mindset in prolonged siege situations. The remaining question is, how did a civilization with such technical skills disappear without leaving written records of its construction? The silence of historical archives regarding the founding of Derinkuyu is as deep as its tunnels, leaving only the tool marks on the walls as witnesses to a Herculean human effort. Recently, the use of laser scanning and ground-penetrating radar has revealed that Derinkuyu may be even larger than the levels currently explored. There are indications of connections to other underground cities, such as Kaimakli, through tunnels nearly 10 kilometers long. This implies the existence of a true network of underground city-states, a parallel society operating in the shadows of history. The logistics to feed and maintain the hygiene of tens of thousands of people underground for extended periods would require impeccable administration and colossal food stocks. Where were the silos? How did they deal with the dead without causing epidemics? Every answer we find in Derinkuyu generates 10 new questions, turning the city into an infinite puzzle that challenges our understanding of the chronology of human civilization and our capacity to adapt in the face of imminent extermination. Today, Derinkuyu is a tourist site, where visitors walk the same tunnels where families hid in absolute silence while armies marched over their heads. The atmosphere is one of claustrophobic peace, a monument to human resilience and the ancestral fear of what comes from above. It serves as a reminder that official history is but a thin layer of dust over much deeper and darker secrets. Derinkuyu is the testament to an era where light was danger and darkness was the only refuge. As we continue to explore its depths, we continue to wonder, if the world on the surface became uninhabitable tomorrow, would we be able to build our own path into the shadows with the same mastery as our ancestors? If this dive into the depths has sparked your curiosity, subscribe and join us to explore what else the Earth insists on hiding.